In this video, I'm going to give you an exact prescription to minimize loose skin whilst you're losing weight on a GLP-1 med. We'll discuss the tools and nutrients that you can use to ensure that your skin stays nice and tight while you lose weight. But first, we're going to look at the cause of loose skin. It goes deeper than just weight loss. If you understand what's happening within the body to cause loose skin, then we can solve the problem. Before we go on, if you would like more nutrition information, I have a free download. I will put the link in the description for you. It is an ebook which goes more in depth about how to reduce side effects, lose weight faster and smoother on a GLP-1 medication, and how to avoid rebound weight gain as well. All right, let's have a look at this image that shows you what's happening when our skin becomes looser. Now, collagen connects between the muscle tissue, which is deep under our skin, and it is a type of connective tissue, right? So it connects from the muscle all the way to the superficial layers of the skin. So what happens when we're losing weight is obviously the fat cells in between the muscle and the superficial layers of the skin are shrinking. The problem is that these collagen strands don't shrink at the same pace as what our fat cells do. So if we don't do anything about it, we end up with saggy, baggy, loose skin. Now, it's important to take into account that age can affect this, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we can't still do something about it. And also, obviously, the rate of your weight loss is also going to affect this because the collagen that connects our skin and our muscle is much slower to come back in than what we can lose weight. So you can see by this picture that these collagen strands act as anchors which tether the skin to the underlying muscle, right? And because of that, that's also what causes cellulite. So what's happening is when we have cellulite, it's because the strands are actually pulling tight, and that's what causes the little dimples. That's why also when we lose a little bit of weight, our cellulite reduces. It's because the strands or the rubber bands of collagen, if you like, aren't pulling very tightly anymore. There's a bit more room in there. So here's some tools that you can use. We will start with the external tools, and then we're going to go on to supplements, which can really help. I have not included any creams or topical moisturizers or anything in this video because I simply don't believe they work. Not for this. They work for other things, but not for this. Okay, so first tool, red light therapy. I use one myself. I have actually had my red light therapy device for a few years now. Now listen, a word of warning, they can be expensive. However, if you're concerned about loose skin, they are probably one of the best investments you can make because they do a lot more than just help to tighten up your skin, but it does take time. So red light therapy, or all light therapies for that matter, take a good 3 to 6 months to work, and you need to use it consistently. So here's my red light therapy device. I use it on naked, bare skin. And ideally, you would do this 3 to 5 times a week for about 15 minutes each session. I'm not quite that strict. I do miss weeks here and there, and then I remind myself and get back into it. So what else does red light therapy do, or how does it work? Let's look at that. Red light therapy is known as photomodulation, and it works at a cellular level by using specific wavelengths that penetrate deep enough into the skin and stimulate the body's natural repair process. So, in other words, this directly influences collagen production. So, if you are having your collagen water, like I've spoke about in other videos, and you're doing this red light therapy, that would be a great combination. And don't forget to have vitamin C with your collagen because vitamin C is a cofactor and you need it to build new collagen. So the other things that red light therapy does is it boosts ATP production. So ATP is our energy currency within the body. When the light penetrates our skin, it stimulates the mitochondria. Remember, the mitochondria is the tiny little organelle inside each one of our cells that makes energy so that the cell can function and ultimately so we can function. So it stimulates ATP, which is a great thing. It gives you more energy. Now, I should mention too, the light that you need, and if you're going to get a machine, make sure that you check the machine that you're buying because it has to be a certain type of light. The light needs to be 630 to 660 nanometers. And you also want near infrared, which on my device, you can see how there's a couple of strips there where you can't see any light. That's the near infrared. And that needs to be 830 to 880 nanometers. That is what activates the enzymes inside our body to create the energy within the cell, which then stems to everything else. So the energy helps with collagen production. It helps to stimulate DNA repair. So in other words, it's going to help us stay young and healthy. It stimulates cell turnover, which is a healthy thing. Autophagy is cell death and getting rid of the cell. Cell turnover is sort of the same thing, really. Getting rid of old cells and building new cells. It decreases inflammation and it improves circulation. And it does that by improving the circulation in the tiny capillaries, which then leads to better circulation throughout the rest of our body. But microcirculation is very important because that's how our body delivers all of our nutrients. And the other thing that red light therapy does is it increases hyaluronic acid, which is a skin-forming substance. You've probably seen that in some of the creams and everything. Hyaluronic acid sort of plumps up our skin, but on the inside, it goes a bit deeper than that. The creams plump up our skin. On the inside, hyaluronic acid works directly with collagen. Okay, I did some research and I found an amazing company. They ship pretty much everything they've got for free, which is great. They have good quality red light therapy machines. And if you think that you want to investigate one, or you're thinking that this sounds like something that might be good for you, check out this company. I've put the link in the description and I actually contacted them and they've given me a 15% discount for anybody that uses my link, which is lovely. They actually have a red light therapy blanket, which I'm considering getting myself. I could, sell my old device and upgrade because I think that blanket looks very cool. But they do actually have options across different price ranges that you can get. So just make sure that you're getting the correct light. I know that on their website, they have the correct lights that you need, like 630 and 830. Yeah, so they are some good quality machines that you can investigate if you feel like you would be interested in red light therapy. Great for anti-aging, all the things that happen when we age. And some people say that it actually decreases joint pain as well, which is interesting. The second tool is actually not a supplement, but a very, very simple thing that you can do. I did this last time I lost weight because last time I lost weight, I was only 28. I was very concerned about loose skin because I had a lot of weight to lose at the time. So I had an epiphany one day, and this is what it was. When a surgeon does liposuction, they put people in what I have always called a fat suit. I don't actually know the proper name for the suit. I thought they're doing that because the collagen needs to pull the skin back in. And we can actually train our body to pull that skin back in. Between good nutrition and the right types of tools on the outside, our body will pull those collagen strands back in and vastly reduce the amount of loose skin that we have. So this is what a fat suit is. It's basically shapewear. You want shapewear that is not restrictive. You don't want to give yourself a deep vein thrombosis. You want it to be snug, but not uncomfortable. You don't want to be uncomfortable. And you want a couple of them so that you can wear them regularly. I generally don't sleep in them, but when I work out, I wear them. When I'm just getting around during the day, I wear them. And mine go basically from just under my bra all the way down to mid-thigh. But now you can get dresses, you can get skirts, you can get all sorts of things in shapewear. If you wear this regularly enough, you're training those little collagen strands to come back in as you get smaller. The more you can support your skin, the better. So that's the second tool. They are affordable, they're effective. The last time I lost 41 kilos and I didn't have loose skin. And I truly believe it had a lot to do with this and nutrition. Now, let's talk about some supplements, and I've got only a few. Hopefully, you've been watching my videos and you now understand how important nutrition is, but I've got a couple of supplements which will help to rebuild collagen as you lose weight, and you get a lot of other benefits from them as well. All right, so the first one is collagen peptides. I have spoken about how I have collagen every single day, probably on almost every video I've done so far. So what you need is plain unsweetened. You do not want sugar. Unsweetened bovine collagen. Bovine collagen will help with joints. It will help with your gut health, and it will help with your skin. Anytime you're having collagen, you need to also be making sure that you're getting enough vitamin C, because vitamin C is a cofactor in making collagen within your body, and also electrolytes and hydration. So 2 things. I've got a link for a good collagen powder that you can get. It is plain unsweetened bovine collagen, which is all you need. You don't need anything fancy. And then I've also got a link to a video that you can watch where I show you how I make my own collagen water with electrolytes. You can watch that next, which brings me to electrolytes and hydration. Very, very important for skin. If you're going to have nice, tight, beautiful skin, you need to make sure that you are hydrated, because, everybody's seen somebody who's spent way too much time in the sun, doesn't drink enough water, and their skin looks terrible, right? So we need to give our skin everything it needs in order to bring those strands back in, because you got to remember, those strands need to be broken down and built back up again. So that's why it's really important to stimulate that with something like red light therapy and your nutrients, but also with new collagen, all the amino acids in collagen so that your body can build it up, and also with support, like a good old-fashioned shapewear fat suit will really help. Okay, so this is how the body makes hyaluronic acid. It actually decreases as we age, which is not great for us ladies that are 50 and over. So the production of hyaluronic acid happens right at the cell membrane. It's synthesized directly in the space in between the cells. And that's why it's so important to get enough water, because as we said before, hyaluronic acid plumps up your skin. So to build hyaluronic acid, you need the raw ingredients and the energy to do so. The energy is coming from a great diet, and it's also coming from your red light therapy if you choose to do that. But hyaluronic acid is basically the internal moisturizer for your skin. And remember, fluid delivers all of the nutrients to every cell that we have in our body. One of the precursors to hyaluronic acid is glucosamine, which is great for your joints too, by the way. So what you need, if you choose to do it, is a therapeutic dose, which is 1,500 milligrams per day. Glucosamine sulfate is the one that you want. That's the gold standard. You don't want the hydrochloride because it won't work the same for skin, and the sulfate will work for your joints as well. Now, just a warning with glucosamine, it does interact with blood thinners. So if you're on warfarin or any other blood thinners, you must be careful with that because it is a mild blood thinner itself. So just check with your pharmacist or your doctor before you start taking glucosamine. And the other big warning as well is it actually is made from shellfish or shrimps and crabs. So there is a warning with seafood. If you have seafood allergies, best not to take glucosamine. Now let's move on to the next one, which is creatine. And creatine is the hidden champion when it comes to nice, firm, tight skin. So most people think that creatine is just for the gym junkies and for building muscles and all the rest, right? But it does so much more than that. And it's important to note too, we make naturally creatine in our own body. Problem is, as we age, it naturally decreases in production. So by the time we're going into like our menopause years, we don't have much creatine left at all. We're producing a fraction of what we used to when we were younger. So creatine is actually great for skin resilience and metabolic function in women over 50. And they've started to do quite a lot of research on this. Creatine is stored in our muscles, our skeletal muscles. You must remember though, creatine pulls water inside the muscle cell. So if you start taking creatine and then the next time you get on the scale, you're a little bit heavier or your weight loss has stopped, it's just water weight. It doesn't mean that you're not getting an insulin spike. You're not, it's nothing like that. It's purely that your muscle's holding more water because creatine will help to build muscle and spare muscle, which is important for your metabolic rate. So what does creatine do? Okay. Creatine is directly involved in collagen synthesis. So in other words, making new collagen. Research shows that supplementing with creatine can stimulate dermal collagen gene expression. So it's acting at the gene level and also pro-collagen synthesis. It maintains lean muscle mass and a healthy metabolism, as I just said. It helps with repair and elasticity. By boosting cellular energy, creatine helps these fibroblasts stay active for longer, which directly improves skin firmness and reduces the sag associated with aging or rapid weight loss. And creatine actually acts as an antioxidant defense. So in other words, it acts as an anti-aging tool from the inside. Magnesium is a crucial cofactor required for the enzymes to link all of these ingredients together. So that's very important that you're getting enough magnesium. And zinc is directly involved in remodeling skin and skin tissue. So it's very important that you're getting enough zinc. So how much creatine do you need? Well, you actually don't need much at all. You need 3 to 5 grams per day. And what you want is creatine, monohydrate, and you want the micronized type. Micronized just means that it's much more easily absorbed. So you're not fighting an uphill battle to try and absorb it. Now, the other vitamins involved, vitamin A promotes cell turnover and new skin growth. So we need that. Vitamin A is a fat-soluble vitamin, and you don't want to overdose on it because we store fat-soluble vitamins. And vitamin A is one of those ones where you don't want to go too high. But vitamin A also maintains the thickness of the dermis, preventing that thin skin look that we sometimes get when we start to age. Vitamin E, also a fat-soluble vitamin, although you can have a lot more vitamin E than you can vitamin A because you won't develop a toxicity to vitamin E. But it is an antioxidant which protects the skin. So you would have noticed there's a lot of creams and oils out there that have vitamin E in them for topical skincare. Actually taking vitamin E will give you a lot more benefit because if it's working from the inside out, obviously you're going to absorb more, and it does so many other things. It's great for heart health, great for your skin, great as an antioxidant. Vitamin E actually protects vitamin C because they're both antioxidants. And vitamin E helps to protect the lipid layer of your skin. And then we've got omega-3 fatty acids, very important for so many different things. But omega-3 fatty acids maintain the lipid layer of your skin. They are involved in reducing inflammation in the skin. And omega-3s help to keep the membrane layers of your skin flexible and resilient. And then we've got biotin. Everybody starts to take biotin when they have skin issues or hair issues. Biotin is involved in the metabolism of fatty acids, which are essential for skin health. If you're going to take biotin, you should probably take your vitamin E and your omega-3s at the same time. Biotin is more involved in the superficial layers of the skin. But I mean, if you're doing red light therapy, you're wearing a fat suit, you're taking your creatine, you're having your collagen, you're doing all of these things, you may as well have some biotin as well, because you may as well treat from the external all the way into the internal and do the whole lot at once. Okay, and then last but not least, we need to manage our rate of weight loss, because there's no point doing all of this if you're losing 5 or 6 pounds a week. So you want to aim for 1 to 2 pounds a week. Personally, I think if you've got a little bit of weight to lose, 2 pounds a week is the perfect rate of weight loss. If you're losing 2 pounds a week, you can basically ensure that that is fat. It's not water. It's not muscle. Make sure that you are doing some strength training, because remember, those little collagen strands are connected to the muscle. So if you're working the muscle, you are indirectly stimulating those collagen strands. And if you're doing everything else we've discussed in this video, you really need to give it a good 3 to 6 months of consistent energy, or until you've finished losing your weight, right? So the first time I lost weight, the 41 kilos that I lost, that took me a year. So I did as much as I could for my skin every single day for a year, and it worked. Yes, I was a lot younger then. Hopefully it works just as well now. And now I've added red light therapy in, so fingers crossed it helps a little bit more. We have officially gone through everything for loose skin. Hopefully you found this helpful. I will pop all of the links in the description for you if you want to check any of those out. And As always, please like and subscribe. I am working really hard to build my little channel. Otherwise, there is a video that I've recently done on hair shedding whilst losing weight on a GLP-1. If you feel like you're losing hair, I've done a nutrition video on that and how you can solve that problem. I will pop it here for you to watch next. All right, I will see you in there.
Smarternuthub.